Okay, today I'm going to rewire these sockets. Um, I think my partner wired it for a final tube configuration when we're not actually doing that. We're wiring two of these in parallel instead of sharing grids. So I'm going to rewire the sockets. We're going to do the fast motion thing. You see, we've got our high voltage network in nice and neat. The top side is all but done. I don't know how much you can see through there. Chokes in this and that. We've already had the transformer on the back, but it's a little heavy, so we took it back out. I am going to rewire these sockets. Now, what's going to happen is, and I've told everybody before, all we're doing on this radio is installing the driver circuit for a Firebird 500. But what we're going to do in this one is we're going to kind of cheat. I don't want them to act like they want more drive, like this section of the schematic. I want them to act like this guy. I want them to put out all they can. I want them to be nice drivers, but I'm going to parallel two of them. That's what we're doing. So basically, it's going to be more like a Knight or a Chris 200. I don't know if you've ever seen one of those, but that's what we're going to end up sticking in here. So I'm going to fire up the fast motion. I'm going to rewire these sockets, and along the way, we'll stop. And you guys know how it goes. Maybe we'll both learn something as we go. 7 threes, here we go. All right, that's when I got the majority of the tube sockets rewired. What we're going to do now is a real simple part of the circuit. It's giving it bias. Pins 2 and 6, you need to pull bias off of a little diode over here, which is actually being fed from a filament. So we're going to make this little circuit here. Part of it's already in there. And then once we're done with this circuit here, giving it its bias, we're going to work on its feedback. We're going to get that relay installed. And our relays came in today, so we're going to start wiring this thing up to switch back and forth. Put a coax connector on the back pretty soon. And be fired. So there we go again. Let's give it some bias. All right, that's all done. So here, quick explanation of what we just did. Our tubes need filament voltage, and that's what comes in here. But coming off of that, what they're doing is this negative bias circuit. So if we follow what we did, coming off our filament, we're coming in to the diode here, like it does on here. And we basically follow this whole little circuit all the way out. That's what this whole network is until it gets to this tube right here, feeding pins 2 and 6 all the way across the board. And that's going to give the tube's bias. This is our input, and this is going to get something attached to it in a minute. And this is, like I said, this is our filament, and it is giving us not only filament voltage but negative. It's feeding our negative bias supply. So there we go. That's that part. Now we're going to go on to the feedback. It's going to come off of, well, actually, it's going to come off of the output of the tank coil up top with this cap. We're going to join into that. It's going to come over and go through one of these chokes there, and then out of that choke to a relay, and then out of that relay through a cap to another choke to a cap that's going to go to ground and just come around and loop through and join to our input pin over here. And that is our next little circuit. We're actually going to use some perf board, some other little goodies to put that together. So that's next. Here we go. Alright, now this is our, I guess you call it our bypass circuit. What's happening over here is on the output at the top goes to the cap, and normally in this circuit it would go to the tubes, but this is going to the antenna here. But it's also getting picked off and coming over here. So when you key this relay, which is embedded in here, this relay is going to clamp, throwing some kind of control back into here. So that whole circuit is done. So the input from the top is going to come here. The back feed to the input on the tube socket is going to be right here. And then we're going to have 2 keying wires that come off, and it'll be controlled by the other relays in the unit. So here we go. Next step, keep trucking.